There's a haunting reason why Michael Jackson's later life played out the way it did, and it all began in a house ruled by fear. Joe Jackson wasn't just a demanding father. He was a man who demanded perfection and enforced discipline with a belt or a switch. This is the story of how that relentless upbringing shaped a superstar, and the scars that came with it. Michael and his siblings grew up under Joe's iron fist, literally. Rehearsals were relentless, mistakes weren't tolerated, and punishments weren't gentle. If a dance step failed, Joe whipped them with a switch, belt, even tree branches. Michael recalled hiding under tables to avoid the blows, but Joe believed this was what it took to keep them out of trouble. In Gary, Indiana, a place where gangs were everywhere and discipline was a shield, this wasn't just tough love. It erased childhood, but that wasn't the only thing erased. Even a simple word like dad was forbidden. Michael, Janet, and their siblings were told to call him Joseph. On the rare occasions Janet tried to say Dad, she was firmly corrected. Michael later said he didn't know his father. He barely held him accountable emotionally, and that distance wasn't just physical, not emotional. Either. Joe's presence instilled such dread in Michael that he often became physically ill. He said just seeing his father would make him vomit or faint. He broke me, Michael admitted in interviews. Jermaine's memoirs echo this. Discipline so strict it terrified them into submission, but Joe had reasons. At least that's how he framed it. Joe insisted his harsh methods were for their good. In front of Piers Morgan, he declared he was glad he was tough because it produced stars, kept them safe from street gangs, drugs, and jail. Some siblings, including Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon, have described his methods as strict but necessary, citing the poverty and danger of their upbringing, but others see it differently, and the damage ran deeper than performance. Michael's need for control over his appearance, his nose, his skin, everything can be seen as more than celebrity vanity. Some sources suggest his plastic surgery obsession may trace back to being taunted by Joe about his looks. Growing up in a home where love was never expressed, he never heard "I love you." Geraldine said Joe never held or cuddled them. The yearning for an imaginary childhood, one Michael famously lacked, became the silent melody of his life. Yet, even in the face of all this, Michael tried something different. When Michael had children, he made a conscious choice. He would never be that father. He refused to use violence and stopped his children from calling him Michael. They called him Daddy. He vowed they'd feel loved. His efforts to be a better parent suggest he mourned the parental warmth he never received. Still, his past shadows followed him decades later. Michael revealed with a shudder that just the thought of his father could make him nauseous. He regurgitated all the way to the bank, Joe had joked. But Michael said he never fully escaped that trauma. Some argue his perfectionism, bizarre habits, vitiligo, and desperation for approval were all echoes of that childhood. Michael Jackson became a superstar, but he traded childhood for control, perfection, and applause. He was shaped by a father who believed discipline meant love and emerged haunted by what he lost. Yet, by refusing to repeat the same emotional violence with his own children, Michael offered a glimpse of healing, however fragile. The scars remain, but so do the efforts to rise above them. Think about how deep childhood wounds can echo through fame, artistry, and legacy. What makes us try harder? Love or the lack of it?